Okay, insolvencies are basically as bad as they've been since 2009. And 2009 wasn't that bad in Canada, but obviously not a good sign. So let's talk about it. Canadian insolvencies accelerate, hit highest level since 2009. Canadian consumer insolvencies are surging to levels not seen since the financial crisis, despite stronger employment. The OSB just reported the highest September filing since 2009, countering any signs of improvement. If anything, the trend appears to just be getting started. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about some boots on the ground stuff that I'm seeing. So there's 12,668 filings in September versus 2009 September. There was about 15,000. So still below when we compare September to September. But it is up 10.6% from last year. So insolvencies got almost 11% worse than this time last year. And when you look at it on a rolling 12-month period, there's 140,000 insolvency filings over the last 12 months versus this time in 2009, there was 148,000. So almost neck and neck with how bad 2009 was. And they believe we're just getting started. Now, what I will add about this is I couldn't tell you, like, there's maybe 2 to 5 people that I know in the business space that are doing better this year in comparison to last year. And even that's like a question mark, right? I think they might be doing better, but the overwhelming majority of people are doing far worse this year than they were doing last year. And last year wasn't even a good year. Last year was also a shit year. And I'm talking about real estate here, but not just real estate. Like, I talk to people in the trades a lot because I have that background. So a lot of my buddies are in that space. I have a few buddies who own a company. And even in that space, like, it's constantly like people are haggling you on your prices, even though the prices aren't high enough to begin with. Even when you sell somebody the service, you're constantly chasing them around to get paid. The employees want a lot of money. You're paying all these taxes. You're like, a lot of people I talk to right now, every single, like, their credit card, their line of credit, everything is maxed. And they're chasing around people trying to get money that they're owed, making ridiculous credit card interest payments. And it just sounds terrible. It sounds terrible, basically, is what I'm hearing from people that own businesses in the trades. And I know somebody who, has ran a plumbing company for 20 years, and they had to access the equity in their clear title detached house just to make payroll. So, 20 years running this business, never having to do that. Now, 20 years in, you think the fundamentals of your business would be so much better than they've ever been at this point, because you've been building this business for 20 years. You got to access the equity in your home, which is paid off, to make payroll. I personally know 2 people who are probably going to have to go through the insolvency process, which, by the way, this could be a lot of things, right? Insolvency is basically just you owe people money that you can't pay back. So to the best of my knowledge, what you usually end up doing is like, hey, you owe these people 200 grand. You get somebody to negotiate with the creditors for you. We're not going to give you 200 grand. We're going to give you 70. And we're going to give you 70 over the course of the next 4 years in monthly payments, right? Not 100%. I'm not a lawyer, right? Don't take that as gospel. But that's kind of how it works, to my understanding, right? So, that debt that you owe could be from a business that, you just had negative cash flow for so many months and it just built up to the point where you can't pay it back. It could be from a lot of things. It could be like, I get a call every week from somebody who's in a situation where they're like, hey, I bought this house for 1.5 and it's worth like, 1.1. Well, their whole down payment's gone. They don't have any other money to pay the difference if they sell the house on closing date. Like, if they put down 300 grand and it's worth $1,050,000 or 1.1, and they still have to pay the realtors and lawyer fees and all this kind of stuff, and the cost to break the mortgage, if they don't have an additional, 200 grand cash or 150 grand cash, then they can't complete the sale. So they're essentially at a point where, like, the bank is probably going to take this property from them and then sell it for them. It's going to be a court-ordered sale. And then they're going to owe the bank money after the sale. And then those are the people that end up going insolvent, right? So for a while, I've been getting about a call a week of somebody in this situation. And it's like, I just don't know. what your options are. Like your options are basically to go, get foreclosed on and go insolvent, or just keep making the mortgage payments and hopefully things turn around, right? Again, not a lawyer, so don't listen to me. But yeah, like conversations with realtors this year, I know realtors that have been in the industry for 10 years that are at like 7-8 sales for the year. I get calls all the time, realtors that I don't even know, because they think I'm killing it, right? Even though I'm not killing it, I'm just like doing decent, like my bills are paid. But in contrast to the way the market is, it gives the illusion as though I'm killing it. So I get a call like every week from somebody being like, hey man, like I usually sell like 20 homes. I'm at like 6 deals this year. What are you doing? I need help with this. I'm at 3 deals. I'm at 5 deals. I'm at 10 deals. I'm dying. I'm at 10 deals. I've never seen it this bad. What are you doing, bro? Like I'm getting these calls every week from realtors. And like I said, I know people who've been doing this for 10, 13 years that are at like 7-8 sales this year. Back in 2021 there's like an award that's medallion, they call it, which is like if you're a top 10% realtor, you're a medallion realtor. And I'm pretty sure in 2021, it was like 25 or 26 sales is what you needed in Greater Vancouver to be a top 10% realtor. Last year, top 1% was 31. So I'm guessing this year, top 1% might be like 28 sales or something like that, right? So in 2021, how do I want to phrase this? Basically, if you were a top 10% realtor in 2021 and you wanted to maintain that income, you need to be 10 times better, almost 10 times better of a realtor to maintain the level of income you had in 2021. Because now the top 1% realtors are basically selling as many homes as the top 10% realtors were in 2021. And that's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close. Like the numbers are pretty close to that. But it's not just real estate. It's, anybody I talk to who's running a business, like I said, I know like maybe 2 to 5 people who are doing better this year than they were last year. And this is another highlight just to show like how bad small business is getting wrecked right now. What is this one? It says Canadian job growth is all in on big business. The only job gains, where did I read this? So it says, while large firms make up only a small share of total employment, they've accounted for virtually all job gains in 2025. So you look at this. This is Canada employment for firms with 500 plus employees. So job gains are rocketing for these companies. They are hiring people. And you look at the small businesses with less than 500 employees, and they are firing people, right? They're losing jobs. So the small business part of Canada is suffering. Big business is doing better this year. And I know lots of people that have had to, I had a full-time videographer that I got rid of. I know people that have gotten rid of their admins, videographer, marketing staff, etc. So is it going to get worse? I think it'll get worse for sure. I guess one positive thing in the economy is rent has come down a lot. So if interest rates, mortgage costs have come down, like anybody new buying a home is going to have a smaller mortgage payment than people in the last couple of years. Anybody with an existing payment might actually be able to refinance into a lower payment. But that's not 100% true because there's still a lot of people that have to refinance into higher payments over the next 2 years. But there's also a lot of people who are going to refinance into lower payments. But rent has come down a lot. And there's probably a lot of people still paying old rents that, like, there's people paying $2,100 a month for a 1-bedroom condo, where if they were to move today, they could probably get something similar for $1,700. So the lower rent, the lower mortgage payments, all that stuff is additional disposable income that can be spent into the economy, which at some point should start helping small business. But that's going to take time before that actually starts to materialize. But if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. If you want to chat with me about buying or selling real estate in the Fraser Valley, there's a link down in the description. Otherwise, I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you. Peace.